Hi, it's State Representative Jim Walsh here in the gallery above the floor of the Washington State House in Olympia, reporting today on House Bill 1240, which got its final vote, bit of debate and vote, and now proceeds to the governor's desk, presumably to be signed into law. This is the so-called assault weapon ban, state level. It bans the sale or purchase of a number of types of firearm. The definition is very unusual. It's a combination of a non-exhaustive list of specific models of firearm, as well as a rather poorly drafted conceptual definition of what an assault weapon is. So it's kind of belt and suspenders that way. But the unusual definition includes not just semi-automatic rifles, which most people think of when they hear this term, but also some pistols and some shotguns. So it's a very broad ban on firearms. It had a long trip through the legislative process this session. Started out as a House bill, heavily debated, passed narrowly, went over to the state Senate, where the state Senate made a number of amendments to it, sent that version back to the House for concurrence, the normal process when a bill is amended. The House refused to accept the amendments that the Senate made, sent the bill back to the Senate for reconsideration. The Senate restructured its amendments, took a couple off, put a couple back on, sent it back to the House, where today's final procedural vote took place, and again, the so-called assault weapon ban narrowly passed the House. In all that ping-pong bouncing back and forth between the House and the Senate, a few things changed. There is an allowance in the kind of vaguely described language in the bill for people who own these restricted firearms but are grandfathered in. They already own them before the bill takes effect. They can go to another state for a hunting trip or a shooting sports competition, and then they can come back into Washington. So they're not breaking the law to do that. Okay, good, I guess. Also, it allows firearms dealers who had the restricted tools, the restricted models and makes in their inventory before January 1st of this year to sell through the remaining stock of those for a period of about 90 days. Okay. What we were not able to keep in the bill that the state Senate had put on it was an exemption for active duty military who are transferred into the state of Washington and who own as personal property one of the restricted makes or models of firearm. That's a big deal to us on the middle and right end of the political spectrum. We believe that that exemption should be there for active duty military who, remember, are usually moving on orders to come to the state of Washington. They should be allowed to keep their personal property. It was a major disagreement that the majority here in the House would not allow that. And another reason that not only did we vote against the current version of the bill, but we voted against some of the procedural concurrence motions as well. In the end, though, the bill did pass through the House and the Senate and the House again, and now will go to the governor's desk where he's expected to sign it into law as quickly as he can. But before the ink of his signature is dry on House Bill 1240, the so-called assault weapon ban, there are going to be lawsuits. There are going to be multiple lawsuits against this bill because of its constitutional defects. And in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court's recent Bruin decision out of New York State, it's pretty clear that the federal courts have been instructed to overturn these kinds of state laws that impair or infringe constitutional rights to keep and bear arms. So there will be basically a race to the federal courts in these lawsuits. A number of groups will file lawsuits. I suspect they will ask for an injunction, an immediate freeze on this policy while it's litigated at the federal court level. So the governor will get his chance to sign the bill into law. He'll get a photo op, I assume, doing that. But this law will be challenged immediately and likely successfully once it's signed. So we'll keep you posted on how that proceeds. But for now, this very controversial bill, maybe the most controversial of this session, has stumbled across the legislative process and is now heading to the governor's desk. I'll have more on this subject for you soon, but for now, have a good day.